going quickly. Um, Good stuff. Okay, so now we've got started. Welcome everybody to LinkedIn for Breakfast. Fantastic to have you here as part of our merry band of business owners, marketeers, all looking to harness the power of the world's largest professional network, LinkedIn. This is where we can go and deliver a bit of our marketing madness every single week, and we hope today will be another great session for you. So let me just sort of share screens and just go through a bit of the agenda for today. So let's jump onto the presentation slide. And just before we always start, we like to let everybody know what our mission here at LinkedIn for Breakfast is. And really, it comes from a position of adding value. Our whole point of this is to look at it from a position of business development, that's the lead generation side, and look at how you can generate more leads from LinkedIn, as well as brand expansion, so how people can get and recognize you more. And the nice thing about the subject today around newsletters, it does both at the same time. And in fact, I see it as being one of the best lead generators on LinkedIn for soft leads. Okay, and our vision for this is to make this essentially the
Richard, we lost you.
I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure what happened there. Can we all hear me? We're back. Hmm. I do apologize. Right, we're back. Right. So we're just talking about the vision for LinkedIn and our LinkedIn for Breakfast vision. And so I might just share the slides like this because for each time I go into slideshow mode, it seems to knock me out. I don't know what's going on. But ultimately, we're looking to make this the best place on earth to learn LinkedIn for free. So please do tell your friends. The whole point of this is to be able to help everybody and come together as a community. And we do this through LinkedIn for Breakfast, which is our school group. So if you're not part of school yet, please do jump into this. And actually, one thing I want to draw your attention to, which we'll be discussing later, this is our free community. And I know Flora will be adding this into the chat any second. But the group, we do a few things like we share little updates and help and support. So the link that Flora just added in is to join this. It's totally free to join. And we'll be asking you to share the link to your LinkedIn newsletter in the group so we can all subscribe to each other's newsletter. We can all sort of join it. And this is being pinned to the top. You can see there at the top there. We'll also be adding the replay to this session into this post at the second, the LinkedIn newsletter deep dive. So once we finish this, we'll add the replay into this for people to watch. And the point is very much a testament to our group that we like to communicate and support and make progress with LinkedIn and then support each other. So if you don't have a newsletter, we're going to help you to create one and then we're going to subscribe to it. If you have a link already, we might help you to reinvigorate it or start posting on it or give you some tactics to get some more people subscribing to it, as well as a place for you to promote it through here. So just jump onto this and you'll see here from the session we did in January, if we scroll down, you can see here everybody is linking theirs. You can see here Kim, everybody subscribing to each other's newsletters and looking after each other. Look at all this. So everybody's kind of subscribing, etc., and looking after people. So really nice. So that's testament to what we do as a community. Okay, so what is a LinkedIn newsletter? Well, essentially on LinkedIn, it's something that allows you to share articles with a subscriber base. It's a free thing that LinkedIn allows you to add, and you have to have had over 150 connections, right? Or if your page has, if you want to do a newsletter from your LinkedIn page, you have to have over 150 people who like your page. So most of us, unless you have created a new company with a new page and you don't have the following, most of us have this already that we can go and create. And so I'm going to walk you through creating it and the different steps behind that. And the cool thing about it is the subscribers to your newsletter, you don't have to try and export them, stick them into some sort of email marketing software, and then start to send them stuff and get your GDPR right and get your DMARC on your domain name all sorted for your email marketing. LinkedIn sorts out the delivery of that newsletter via an email under LinkedIn's name into your subscribers' inboxes, as long as they have that feature turned on, i.e., they haven't unsubscribed from all LinkedIn's newsletters. So if you have notifications coming through from LinkedIn and I've subscribed to your newsletter, I will receive a copy of your newsletter when you publish it, and LinkedIn distributes that, which usually means that LinkedIn's in my safe sender's inbox on my personal email. So it means that it's going to get delivered. I'm going to see it, and also it's a safe sender. So there's some credibility around that. So in a world where there is so much difficult, so many things to do with email marketing that's difficult, and spam filters and blocks and all the rest of it, this is quite a nice alternative way to distribute your ideas and thoughts out into the world. Now, where does this come in? I'm going to show you how to set one up in a second, but I'm just going to kind of give you a little bit more thesis when we start to think about the overarching look of a campaign. So let me just delete that. There's one I made earlier in classic Blue Peter fashion. Whoever it was that joined us from Virginia, or anybody else that has no idea about Blue Peter, will have no clue what I'm talking about, but some of us will. So when we go, when we're doing any sort of marketing, we want to take people from this a stage of awareness through to consideration to convert to deliver, right? So awareness is when on LinkedIn we're finding a list of people that we want to target, we're connecting with them, right? We're sending them some messages, we're hoping they're going to see our content, and that content could be a newsletter, right? And this consideration piece, we need to move people from going, oh, I'm aware that you're a business coach that specializes in the IT sector, to, oh, I'm reading an interesting article that you said about how AI's, completely rejuvenating some corner of the industry that I'm in, and I'm interested in it. So you see how I go from, oh, I think you're something to do with IT and businessy, to, oh, okay, I like what you're talking about, right? We've got to make this transition, this aware through consideration. And I say to people, doesn't matter what format, and newsletters is one of them, but whatever format you go for, you need to have what we call a weekly moment. That weekly moment is that figure piece, that central bit of content that you put out every single week, that is your hook, that you hang your content peg, your peg that you hang your content, coat on, if you like, if you want a better analogy, not a tongue twister, but something that is your figure point, your epicenter of your week, right? Your weekly moment. Now, I believe a newsletter is a perfect way of doing that, because people can connect with you. You can message them and invite them to become a subscriber of your newsletter. And then once they become a subscriber of your newsletter, every time you publish it weekly, they're going to get your thought leadership and they can consider you. And so by pushing that out, pushing that out, pushing out, they're consuming it. One week they might miss it, another week they're not interested in the topic you're talking about, but they'll start to see you over time. And as long as these newsletters have good call to actions, those call to actions can then book people into a sales meeting. And my thesis, if you want to go from awareness considered to convert, this convert needs to lead with value, and this consideration needs to lead value. And this consideration is a one to many, that's an M, one to many model. So one out to many subscribers, or if it's not a newsletter, it could be a podcast, it could be an event like this. This is currently my weekly moment. Could be a podcast, could be an event, could be a long form video like a YouTuber style video, or it could be a newsletter, something like that that could do it. Now, I wouldn't do them all at the same time, because no longer are your one weekly moment. I'm a big believer of the power of one, having one real place. But pick the one that you really love, and a great easy entry level one is a newsletter. And so that's your one to many marketing model. And then your one-to-one, don't just say, hey, if you like this newsletter, you want to have a 10-minute discovery call so we can talk about how I can sell you something. That's not a call to action. That is basically presuming they want to buy from you and giving them the opportunity, the gift of booking a meeting with you so you can sell to them. That is not what happens. And of course, the odd person might book that who really read lots of your content or likes you or has a dying need for your service. But actually, the best way to run some sort of convert piece, some sort of sales meeting, is to make this a value session, right? So a value session is where we offer something that is continued along the theme, but of value. So, for example, if you're talking about IT AI here, if you're a business coach that specializes in IT and AI, you might say, "Hey, I'm going to do I'll give a special AI audit on your business to show you all the gaps or where you might be able to fill it with AI that you're currently missing out on." And it's a 45-minute session. And in that session, we'll go this, and this. And by the end of it, you'll be able to see all the opportunity that you could have with AI. Now, of course, at the end of that analysis, that audit, then that person's going to say, and if you want some help, I'd love to help it. And you open the door to them buying, from you, and then you get to deliver, right? And they become a client. But if you talk about, hey, why don't we talk about how I can sell you this, as opposed to, hey, well, let's talk about actually doing a gap analysis and doing whatever it is and AI discovery with you, you're going to get more bookings. So one to many with your weekly moment and then a value session. This is how you've got to build out a campaign, and LinkedIn can handle all of this. And so the newsletter piece comes in here, and it's super valuable because you can take this awareness and you can push it into the newsletter. You warm them up in the newsletter, you then push them into the value session. This whole piece can be delivered through this. Right. So that's the theory, and that's the strategy. Now let's head over to LinkedIn and go to let's go to the profile section. So I'm going to show you how to set one up, but first I'm going to show you why it's important. Um, I really love having a LinkedIn newsletter slap bang on someone's profile, because if you scroll down here, you can actually have it as a featured post. You can see how I've got my newsletter in here. It is pinned as a featured piece on my profile. And newsletters are the only thing on LinkedIn that has a button. You see this button here? You could have a number of things pinned to your feature section on LinkedIn, but none of them are going to have a button that looks like this. And the best part of this button, it's a one-click subscribe. So that one click has converted me from being a browser of your profile to become a subscriber of your LinkedIn. And that is a lead that has just been generated. And if a lead has been generated, basically what it is, it's the ability for someone to put their hand up and say, hey, I was interested enough in your content to have subscribed to it. And so therefore I'm probably prime to be able to have a DM conversation with, and for the door to be opened for me to maybe book my one-to-one meeting with you, which is the value session, right? And so that becomes the activity. Now, this is the cool part. I can see this newsletter. I click on this newsletter, and if someone goes on to this, they can see, oh, this is the LinkedIn Breakfast newsletter. There's a bit of title around it. That's great. I can see it. But only I can click on my subscribers, and my subscribers are here in blue, and it will list these subscribers, and I can see, and this is fantastic because Yvonne, you've obviously just gone onto my profile and subscribed. You can see that Yvonne here, who I noticed was on the call, she has just subscribed to my newsletter. And so I can see, great. And I look at Yvonne, she looks like someone who is someone I might want to be connected with. And look, it's an accept. And she has then proactively made the decision to want to connect with me and accept. And the beauty of this is then I can go on to direct message her and say, hey, Yvonne, thanks so much for subscribing to my newsletter, which is basically someone's made the first move, they subscribe. How's things? what's going on in your world, and I can start that conversation and I can kind of start to discover what it was that made them interested enough to subscribe. Was there potentially an opportunity for us to have a conversation? Is there something else? Is there a partnership? Is there an opportunity bigger than that? And you can go through and actually look at these and go, okay, well, is this person the right sort of campaign for me? This person here is a co-founder of something and they're a secondary connection. And this is where a LinkedIn newsletter really comes into its own. And as I say, I'm going to show you how to set all this up. This person here is a second degree connection, i.e., they have not tried to connect with me like Yvonne did, because you could see Yvonne is a secondary connection, but she had that button that said connect or accept on it. Her button was accept because she had sent me a connection request. This person, Valentine, has not asked to connect with me, but yet they did subscribe to my newsletter. Why is that important? Well, if you're not paying for LinkedIn Premium, you can only see like the last two or three people that have visited your profile. So there's a section on your profile that says who has seen your profile, and you can see the last two or three people have seen it. If you're paying for premium, you can see everybody that's visited your profile. But if you're not, then you would never have known if Valentine had been on your profile. He's just come to my profile, he's had a little look around, looked at my content, and decided to subscribe to my newsletter, but he's not tried to connect with me. So if I hadn't had this newsletter, I would have no idea of this person's interest in my stuff. They might have just read some content but had not done anything. So he has made himself into a potential opportunity for me, and I can go on and actually send a connection request, or better still, because if I just press this connect now, it's just going to send a connection request. Better still, I'm going to right click, I'm going to open him in a new tab, and I'm going to go onto his profile. And I'm showing you this longhand because I want you to see me doing it and then kind of go, okay, this is the way I should be doing it. This is the method of doing this. Check him up, and yeah, looks like someone that's doing some coaching training, the type of person that I might be able to help. So I would go onto his profile and press this connect button, not the one from newsletter, because this connect button will ping up the ability to add a note, which if I do it directly on the thing, it doesn't allow me to add a vote. So, and I'll demo that to you. So I press add a note. And so instead of just doing this, I'll just say, hi, Valentine. Uh, Thank you for subscribing to my LinkedIn newsletter. How are things in this crazy world, right? So let me just break this down for you because that's why I wanted to show it longhand, right? Um, so what I'm basically saying to him is I'm saying, you made the first move, you subscribed to my newsletter, that's great. So it shows it's like a warm opportunity, it's like an opening to start a conversation. And then I'm asking him, how's he? So I'm not going, do you want to buy my stuff or do you want to have a meeting or whatever? I'm just saying, hey, what's up? And that's the nice, cool way of doing it. And I can press there like that. Job done. I then move on to the next one and then work out this person who is a first degree connection, but actually, have I had a conversation with this person? And Andrea, excuse me, and there's a few people in here, like I feel like I don't want to be doing too many opening up this and seeing what any private messaging is. But the point being, if Andrea here, Andrea, sorry, hadn't communicate with me. We might be first degree connections, but we maybe spoken 2 years ago. Or we might be first degree connections and I'd sent a message, but she hadn't replied to me, or she had sent a message and I'd missed it, or we just hadn't communicated. This is a great opportunity for me to reinvigorate the relationship and start talking to her, right? And so you can see how by just having this, it's another place where opportunity can bubble up. But it's not like an inbox, it's actually opportunity based upon their interest in your content, not like your LinkedIn inbox, which is like usually people trying to connect and then pitch you, right? And so it kind of you're on a better foot forward. So hopefully that helps, right? So this is showing you why this is important. Good. Now we will come and take some questions on that in a second, but let's rewind back to how do you create one, okay? So, in terms of creating a LinkedIn newsletter, step by step, we need to set one up. So, I'm going to show you, you have to do this. If you click on home, you need to do this in this box at the top where it says start a post. And you're not doing a post, okay? So, don't start typing here. Go to this write article, click on write article here, and it will take you to the article section. Now, LinkedIn newsletters are basically articles that are then taken and distributed through that newsletter email thing that I just talked about right at the start. And so, why are articles good? Well, did you know that only two things on LinkedIn are able to be found on Google? So LinkedIn opens up its kind of iron curtain, if you like, to the Google spiders, the search bots that go and index pages to see what's on there. There's only two things. They are the newsletter, sorry, an article, and what do you think the other thing is that's opened up on a Google? Go on, stick in the chat. What's the only the second other thing that is findable on Google? Who's going to get it right? So there's two things that LinkedIn allows Google to see. Who's going to put something in the chat? Or if you can't type in the chat, you can unmute yourself and say your profile. Yes, look at that. Fantastic. Because remember, if you go and Google someone before you go and see them, I might type in Les Gosling, and suddenly Les's LinkedIn profile comes at the top because it's indexable, which is great. And also, if you write an article and you use things like the alt tags and you describe the picture and you put some SEO keywords in, people may find your articles that you've published on LinkedIn via Google, which is another great way for lead generation. So it's like one of these, the onion of a LinkedIn newsletter keeps on unpeeling with value because of this, which is why I love it. So super important to get a nice article. It can be seen by Google and can be indexed. You can get some traffic that you don't know about, you're not connected with, to the content, and you publish it here. And then what you want to do is you want to click a button and send it as a newsletter. But if you haven't set one up, you'll see here, and you'll know if you haven't set one up, by the way, because on the left-hand side, you can see I've got my name, Richard Woods, and underneath it says LinkedIn for Breakfast, and it's got that icon. That's not my business. That is the newsletter, right? And if I click on this button here, it will say, hey, publish as, and I can decide if I want to publish it as my company pages or publish to, and then we've got as an individual article. So if I don't want it to go out as a newsletter, or publish it to my LinkedIn for Breakfast newsletter, and I can see there. Now, if you don't have on the left-hand side one of these, and you only have individual article, then you don't have a newsletter set up. And you can have multiple newsletters, by the way. So if you go on the right-hand side to manage this button here, you click this, you go down, it says create a newsletter. You click create a newsletter, and then bada bing, we are in the newsletter creation stage. And you want to give your newsletter a title. And let's work this through because there's only 4 things we need to worry about. Title, how often we're going to publish, the description of the newsletter, and then the image. Those are the only 4 things that are describing the newsletter, and that each one of them is vital. First of all, the most important thing, the most important thing with the image, right, is the title. Now, if you created something that was like Susie's Weekly Musing, right? It's not, it's kind of generic. I would subscribe to that because I find Susie hilarious and I'd love to hear what she says. But the whole point is that we'd want to, it doesn't tell us what's the value. What am I going to get out of it? What's interesting about it? Tell me a little bit more. It needs to be like the Ronsil advert. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, there's a great tagline for Ronsil which says, does exactly what it says on the tin. And we want to do that. We want to describe this as exactly what we're going to be talking about. So it could be, marketing, marketing tips, or, we could be talking about leadership weekly, or something along those lines. You don't have
Do you
much.
remember how we did clean the cache last time, Anthony?
Or I think Anthony's getting told off, so we'll leave Anthony to it. So so the title of this title needs to be really obvious, and let me show you why. Because when you send this out and when you press publish, what's going to happen is it's going to send it to all your connections, asking them to subscribe. You can see here there's two different updates that's examples here. So this person here is inviting us to subscribe to Monday Motivation, which is again a bit bland and generic. This person's asking us to subscribe to Gratitude and Resilience, which to be fair, if she's around that resilience and gratitude, you kind of get it. So it's going to be your name is inviting you to subscribe to this. So if it's an abstract name, we're not going to really know, and you're not going to get that initial wave of subscribers that's so important. Really, really important, right? So that's what we want to make sure of, that it's, the name actually rings and makes sense for the people, right? Then we're going to say, how often are we going to publish this thing? So we're going to do it daily, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. What I would suggest is to actually try and make it a weekly newsletter, right? Or bi-weekly, but having some sort of rhythm can really help. And so putting that in will be great for you. And also making sure that you're not going to be penalized if you don't publish it at that schedule. You're not going to have the thing taken down if there's not been one for 2 weeks, a month, whatever it is. But it sets the tone, because when we look at this invite here, you can say invited to subscribe, and at the top it says newsletter weekly or newsletter daily, right? So it does show up when people are invited to it. Okay. And then what you want to do is give the description, and you can say kind of like, what is it and how is it? So a weekly video packed with LinkedIn tips, hacks, and how-to strategies perfect for entrepreneurs looking to do whatever it is, right? And you can give a title. So you want that description will sit underneath. We looked at this person's profile, that description. Oh, hang on, I haven't got it up, so I won't take a second. It will sit underneath when someone clicks on your newsletter. And then the next thing is your image. Now, that image is important because you want that to be seen when it's tagged as a featured post, and that's what will catch people's eyes when you put it out as well. So title and image, making sure there. Once you've done that, press done, and it will then instantly then send out the invites to everybody. Okay. The next stage is to then actually publish a article. And when you put together an article, and I'm just going to put some generic stuff in here, and I press next on this article. Oh, is it going to allow me to do this? Oh. Grammarly's having a bad day with my spelling there. You press next, and you can see here that the article will be there on LinkedIn for Breakfast, ready to go. And the next thing I need to do is to write the post that tells people about it. So, hey, I've got a new article about the 7 mistakes people make when they're doing X, Y, and Z, and read below. And as soon as I publish this post that has this article attached to it, not only will it go out on my profile, but also that will get distributed to all the people's emails who are the subscribers. So that's how that works. So post to anyone plus subscribers like that, so everybody can see it. Cool. Okay, so that's how you set up a newsletter, and that's how you send your first one. The next thing to kind of think about is making sure that it's all up on your featured posts. So as we discussed, when you look at your profile, you do really want to make sure you pin it to here. So to create that, to put it onto your featured post, you make sure that you go onto featured like this, click the plus button, and then you can go add a newsletter, and it will allow you to add your newsletter on there. So that will help you to get more people along to it. And I always only have 2 posts on my featured. You can have up to 5, but most people, I fundamentally believe having 2 is better. The reason why is that if you have 3, it makes everything smaller and the posts kind of squeeze in, whereas 2 is like big and bold. So if you look at someone else's profile that has more than 1 featured, it won't be as big and bold. And I also like to kind of mirror the design between my other one. And the other feature post that I do, by the way, just a super trick. So if we go back to our Miro, this sales meeting here, this value session, we offer a free LinkedIn profile audit. So we talk about LinkedIn and then we offer to audit people's profile for free so we can show them all the benefits of all the ideas like we're showing you now of how they can improve their profile. And that's free. So this is what we would call our big call to action where people are booking a meeting. And then this is our soft call to action where people are just becoming a lead, right? So you can actually see here we got lead generation in here on that features section. So features section number 1, newsletter. Features section number 2, the meeting, right? The value session. And your LinkedIn profile can perfectly mirror that by having it here. There's method in this madness, guys. Can you see? I think you should all see that. So when you're putting your connection requests out, that's the awareness piece. So I'm sending connection requests. They're coming onto my profile once they connect with me and going, oh, okay, who is this guy? They're then seeing the value, the weekly moment, and then they're potentially also seeing then the value session. And so you're introducing these and then you're staying consistent. You're not talking about multiple different value sessions and you're not having multiple different ways of doing things. You just got these two lovely consistent things that you're just pushing people through. And the whole point of marketing is to simplify your funnel so you can scale quickly, right? Scale quickly. David Martin saying, interesting that you put a value session there rather than a lead magnet. Well, David, the lead magnet is on there. Look, here, generated a lead, generated a lead, generated a lead, generated a lead. It's a seamless lead magnet that it almost blink and you missed it, right? It happened. But you've also got to remember they connected with you and they're on your LinkedIn profile. So the lead is kind of there. Just really nice, quick wins. Wicked, isn't it? I love it. I love this type of thing. Good. Okay, so um, oh yes, perfect. The other piece in terms of grow is, and then I'll come back and do some questions, right? So the final piece I love about doing this is also with premium, and you'd need to have premium. And if you don't know what that is, you need one of these gold things. You need to be paying LinkedIn either for Sales Navigator or the upgraded thing.
Have you frozen again?
Oh, there I go again. Sorry about that, guys. Right, let's go back to that. I was showing the newsletter, wasn't I? I was going on with this. So when someone clicks on the newsletter, they can see your newsletter and they subscribe to it, which is great. So it's in here. You can see all the additions. But this button, most importantly, is when I'm sharing posts. So you can see here this post here. Below it, it allows me to have view my newsletter as a hot button underneath my content, right? And so that will mean that if my post goes viral, then lots of people who see my content will also be able to then see that call to action, click on that call to action, and become subscribed to my newsletter. And so that can exponentially grow my newsletter. Cool, huh? Right. Let's just quickly share some thoughts and some questions around this. What we'll take one, and then I just want to take one question now, and then stick around because I'm going to talk about how you can get involved in that share your newsletter little game, and also got another little special thing for you guys. So, who's got the first question before we jump onto those two?
Me,
things?
please. Me, please.
Go for it. Me, please.
How do you get the consistency of a template showing up the whole time so that you are easily recognizable by that template?
Are you talking about the pictures that I've got on?
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got croissants for breakfast, but you've got there you go. That's it.
These were okay. And that's just a picture, right? So that's not too clever. but simply go into do this. So type in Canva, and then we use a YouTube thumbnail design. And for
Are you still with us, Richard?
It's frozen.
sorry about that, Susie.
All right.
I'm scratching my head. What's going on? So it's a YouTube thumbnail. So we go onto Canva and we search for YouTube thumbnail creator, and then we use that to create the designs for the header of the for the newsletter. The reason why is if you think about YouTube, if it's when people scroll through videos, those videos have got to catch people's eyes. And so if you think of YouTube being super important, they've obviously the style and the designs have perfected over time to make them most eye-catching. So if you apply that thesis over to newsletters and LinkedIn newsletters, then you'll be able to catch. Yeah, and obviously as you saw it, it looked good. It looked all right. It was the sort of consistency, right?
It was the consistency that got me. Yeah.
Love it. Good stuff. Right. So as mentioned, guys, I'm just going to I'll put this over to you guys. So two things really quickly. One, this is the link to this share your newsletter. So I'm going to copy this here and I'm going to put it into the chat now. So I want to challenge you all, if you haven't got a newsletter, please create one. And this week, because we'll only keep this open until Friday, this pinged up here, post your newsletter, your new newsletter here, and we will all subscribe to it. And so you will gain subscribers off the back of that. And I'd love to know how many subscribers you're getting. So there's a nice bit of accountability for you. And it's only going to be this week because by next week, we'll be talking about another part of LinkedIn. And so if you haven't got it, this is your week to have the additional benefit of using this to be able to elevate your initial wave of subscribers. So there's some nice little accountability for you in the LinkedIn for Breakfast community. And the second part, guys, is we do have this wonderful way of being able to have your LinkedIn profile audited by me or Joey, who are our experts in terms of LinkedIn and what should be right. And when we talk about those featured section and we talk about what should be in your header and how should your banner look and all the different other cool tactics we got. If you look at my profile, for example, why do I have this big kind of call to action banner with a scroll down to my features section? Why do we have these different setups in terms of our headline banners? Why do we have this call to action on top of our about section? All of those questions we go through and we apply it to your LinkedIn profile and we personally go through it and give it a full audit. And so hopefully without me, for whatever reason, my Zoom closing down today, because every time I click on a new link, it's done that. Let me just get the LinkedIn profile audit, copy this here. And this link will give you a free access to this profile audit. And it's just going to ping up there. I've just put that into the chat now. So if you click on that, you will see, and I'm hoping there's availability because sometimes we get so over. Oh God, look at that. There's literally only 9 tomorrow. Look at that, guys. No, that's 9 a.m. on Tuesday next week. Crumbs. Okay, so if you are really keen, you can get that slot now because it's the only one label. If you can't find a space, mention in the chat now and just type the word audit or and if you just write the word audit, if that time doesn't suit you or you've had one a few months ago, like another one, or you would like to try and suggest another day, my team will reach out to you. So you just type the word audit if that one doesn't work for you. If you can grab it, great, and we'll put it in there. So we'll be able to make a note of that. Lovely. Okay, thanks guys for the people, John and Andrea. We will endeavour to get your audits in place. Right, questions. Who's got other questions around this or further experiences? Sarah, over to you.
Am I on?
Hello.
Yeah. So obviously, newsletter sounds great. I very much like it, but as you know, I'm also considering a podcast. We also currently have a newsletter for the company page. So without getting too specific in this call, Richard, I'm wondering what your advice would be.
So this is really good idea. So if you're, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's gone again.
I think my computer may need a restart. It's hating me. Sorry about that. Sarah, you were saying you run a podcast and how would you do this? Because you got the company page. The beauty of this, guys, with a LinkedIn newsletter, if your primary weekly moment is a podcast or your primary weekly moment is a YouTube video, you can make still use the newsletter function because every time you post your podcast to say, hey, this week I've launched my podcast, make it into a newsletter, and your newsletter then becomes your podcast. So you can say, hey, subscribe to know when the latest newsletter is out. Sorry, subscribe to know when the latest podcast is out, and we will automatically deliver that podcast to your inbox through this newsletter. So the hook for someone subscribing to a newsletter is the podcast, and then the content you put in there will be around the podcast. You can embed it in there, and then happy days. It's what we do because our actual LinkedIn newsletter promotes our YouTube channel. So every single one of those videos, as people see on our newsletter, which is simply just promoting the latest videos that we're putting out on YouTube, and it helps our views on our YouTube channel because we're siphoning our audience from LinkedIn and getting them to subscribe to newsletters. So we are basically working that tactic, Sarah, but not for podcasting, but for our YouTube. So you'll be all good on that idea.
Thank you.
No worries. Mary, over to you.
First of all, thank you for this amazing content. I've been following you for about a month now, and I really appreciate that you are so generous with your information. My question has to do with the benefit of an influx of wave of subscribers, as you had mentioned. If they're not in your ideal customer profile, does that benefit you?
So we will train because our VAs do the DMing, right? So if you're doing it yourself, that's great. You can go through it and you can make an assumption on if these are right people, or train your VA to do this. When they're looking through that list of subscribers, you want to be able to say, okay, that person is not my target audience. So they are welcome to subscribe to my newsletter, but I'm not going to send them a connection request. And if they have sent me a connection request, I am not going to accept it because I'm a big believer that whenever you post something, and this is outside of just newsletters, if you post a video or you share an event or whatever you do on LinkedIn, it does an initial push to your audience. So say 5% of your audience will see that first thing. Now, if some of those people liked and comment and engage on it, then it will go out to more, say 10%. And if you get some more comments, then it will go out even more. And that's then it goes out to people that look like those people that aren't your connections. So that's the viral effect, and that's how the algorithm works. So here's the problem. If you've got, say, 1,000 connections, but only 100 of them are actually perfect target market, and the rest of them are friends from college and, like mates and old colleagues, and they're not target audience, then if you create a target audience specific piece of content that is very much tailored. Say you're trying to target accountants, so it's a hey, the 7 mistakes accountant makes when presenting, whatever it is. If 95% of them are not accountants, then that content's going to do badly because you're not going to get that virality of your push because your first degrees are just not going to, do anything with it. So it's far better to be a bit more picky with who you're accepting connection requests with, and also cull, get rid of the old wood out of your connection request, as long as they're not target audience, because we can reinvigorate old connections that don't do anything that are the right audience, but we shouldn't be connected with people that are people you don't know, who are not the right audience, who you picked up along the LinkedIn life that you've had.
Not
Get
so
rid of
much
them.
of the old, if you don't mind, Richard.
Vintage. Like fine wines. They are. So does that help, Mary?
It does. Thank you.
Fantastic, good stuff, and thank you for your kind compliment on this. I'm well when my Zoom isn't closing down, I hope to serve. So it's good. Penny, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, terrific session, Richard. Really enjoying it. I have about 500 subscribers on my newsletter, and I guest on podcasts about twice a week. Presumably,
Thank you.
the same thing is relevant in the newsletter. Repurpose the content and provide a link.
Yeah, so here's the cool thing as well. It's a calling card, right? So when you say to people, and we've got clients, and actually, Sarah, this is something that we might be able to do for you. We with our VAs, and we supply VAs to clients to help them do this marketing stuff. They will reach out to potential podcast hosts and will say, "Hey, we've got a client here who has got this experience and this." But if we can say, and also has a LinkedIn newsletter subscribership of 2,000 people and a connection, and also has 15,000 connections and blah 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 blah, it becomes a little bit of an asset, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's good." And you can say, "My promise to you is when you publish, I will also write a newsletter that will get emailed out to those subscribers with the content in there." And so it will help you to get onto bigger and better podcasts, but two, it's really good content to show credibility and also, to update and inform your audience. Well, that's subscribership. So win-win, hey Penny.
Yeah, absolutely great, because I've done about 45 in the last year.
No problem backdating them. And this is the other cool tactic with your newsletter, right? So all those old blogs that you put on your website, all the old content you put out, articles you've written all over the place, if they are not already been on your newsletter, there's no reason why you can't republish them or grab them, give them a little bit of an edit, or a bit of a chat GPT, and throw them into there. And you can schedule as well. So you can schedule weeks in advance your newsletter, which can be a real benefit as well.
Fantastic. Thank you.
No problem, Penny. Glad it helps. Into the room, guys. Any further questions? If you put them in the chat, I'm sorry if I missed it because obviously I've been dipping in and out, so I've kind of lost a bit of the chat. If you want to mute yourself and ask, that would be awesome. Or whilst I have a look at that, if you've got a further chat. Whilst you do that, do remember to book in for your LinkedIn profile audit, or if you couldn't get in, and thank you for the people who already have, to mention LinkedIn profile audit. I'm just trying to get the link again. Hopefully that works. So I just put that in there. I'm not sure if that session's gone in. We might be topped up. So if you wanted an audit, just type in audit. Or if you wanted a re-audit, and you've had an audit before, put it in there and we'll see what we can do.
I have a comment and a question quickly.
Yes, Helena, yeah, go for it.
I just want to say how happy I am working with you and my VA, because she's handling this newsletter for me. I already have 1,800 subscribers, 4 editions. The content is amazing. She's taken a lot of stuff that I produced in the past, but revamped and added new stuff. And it's super high quality content. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, I'm going to take now the little framework she came up with for whatever, assessing career progression, whereas before I had career transition, and I'm going to develop a new quiz because the questions that were in that piece were so good. So it's just super beneficial.
Oh, thank you
So
so
yeah,
much.
I can recommend to everyone on the call
Bless
to
you.
work with Richard. Very quick question. I missed a bit about emails. You said that we can actually email people who are our subscribers.
So the LinkedIn newsletter itself does the newsletter, that does the emailing. So the cool thing about it is it handles that, but the
Okay.
kind of downside is that you can't just press a button and download their emails. But of course, you can click on their names and go and see if they've got email on their contact info if you wanted to. So you could manually try and find out their emails, but the newsletter the sending of the email newsletter is
Gotcha.
handled by LinkedIn, and LinkedIn will then send it, and it will be from a LinkedIn address. So it will come from a
Yes,
LinkedIn address,
understood.
go into their inbox. Most people have LinkedIn as their safe sender, so the deliverability is good, and then your content gets out
To
to people.
say that the latest edition of Career Growth Lane yeah, for
That's
example,
it.
my
That's
newsletter.
it. Exactly.
Okay,
And so
perfect.
it's kind of like a three-pronged attack. So one, the thing will get out to the subscribers via email. Two, it gets published and can be found on Google because, as we said, findable. And the third thing is that it gets published as a post on your profile. I guess the fourth thing is it also is listed underneath your newsletter section, so it can be found there and remains in there. So older editions are far easier to find than than a post, for example.
Of course,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so it's really good, and that's great. Over 1,000 subscribers with only 4 editions. That's fantastic.
1,700 plus.
Wow, so nearly 2,000. That's fantastic. Really great. Really
But it's
pleased.
the quality. The quality is really like beyond I could produce or dream to produce myself, really, even though I have lots of ideas and knowledge, but it's just systemizing and anyway, thank you.
Bless you. Thank you. Great stuff, guys. Any further questions? We've got time for one more before we're going to close. More than happy to take any final questions that people have, or even just shares that from anything they've seen or anything they've done with their newsletters. Thoughts, gang? Okay. No worries. I'm just looking in the chat. There's a few good things in there, but we can come back to any of those ones in the chat. All right, guys. Well, look, thank you again, all. I hope this has been of value. And if you wanted to share, remember the kind of call to action is get your newsletter up, share the link in the community, and book into one of the LinkedIn profile audits or make yourself available for one. And finally, see you next week at same time. Next Wednesday, we'll be talking another slice of LinkedIn. Thank you all. Hope that helped. Big love. Take care. A
Thank
million
you.
dollar sprinters, by the way. I'm going to close the room and then I'm going to reopen it in 3 minutes for our deep dive after this call. Cheers all. Take care. See you on the flip side.